أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Previously we examined al-fi'l al-madi, the past tense verb, and the 14 forms in which it comes. We mentioned the pronouns that attach to it. We talked about the hidden pronouns as well. In our discussion tonight, we will examine al-fi'l al-mudari', the present tense verb. How do we form a present tense verb? And what are the 14 forms in which a present tense verb comes in? Basically, in order for us to make a present tense verb, you start with a past tense verb. Fi'l al-madi. So let's look at the word ضرب. That is the past tense verb, which means to hit. So when you make it past tense, it's hit. He hit, she hit. In order to make a past tense verb to a present tense verb, you do the following. The first that you add is a ya before the three letters. So add the three letters here and then put a ya before them. There is always a fatha on the ya. That's fixed. No confusion there. There is always a fatha on the ya. The first letter, which is the dad, which is now our second letter, because it's coming after the ya, always has a what? Sukoon. Whenever you make a present tense verb, the letter that comes after that ya, the second letter, which is the first letter in your fi'l al-madi, always has a sukoon. The last letter here always has a what? Dhamma. Because fi'l al-mudari', the present tense verb, is marfu'. So it always will have the dhamma. Unless there's an agent that's acting on it. Like adat nasb, adat jazm, that's a different issue. But in its original form, fi'l al-mudari', you automatically know that these three letters are fixed. The first one has a fatha, the second letter has a sukoon, the last letter, the fourth letter here, always has a dhamma. So which one is the tricky one then? This one here. The third letter. It could be marfu', it could be maftuh, it could be maksur. The most common one is maftuh, maksur, then marfu'. So in our example here, what is the ra? Maksur. Yadribu. Is there a rule, a law, that tells us how this letter is to be treated? No, there isn't, unfortunately. This is something you have to learn. There is no law that will tell you how to deal with this letter here. So the three letters, the ya, then the dad, then the ba, we know. The ya has a fatha, the dad has a sukoon, and the last letter of al-fi'l al-mudari' always has a dhamma. We know that, that's fixed. The only tricky one is that third letter. Sometimes it could be a kasra, it could be a fatha, and very rarely a dhamma. It's possible. Is there a clear rule that I can share with you? Unfortunately, no. There is no clear rule. This is something suma'i. You just have to learn from the Arabic language through experience and practice and being familiar with the language.
But the meaning changes with the third one.
It's not about the meaning changing. It's about just knowing how the Arabs spoke. How did they make a present tense verb? Because if you say يضرب, it's just wrong. It's not about the meaning change. If you say يضرب, it's wrong. That's incorrect.
So it's not a word?
No, يضرب is not a word. يضرب is not a word. So it's not about changing the meaning. It's just incorrect. The correct form is يضرب. Any other punctuation that you put on the ra will make the word not a valid word in the Arabic language. We don't have يضرب or يضرب. We don't have that in Arabic. It doesn't have a meaning. It's incorrect.
Is it even possible to put a sukoon after another sukoon? Like how the bad has a sukoon?
No, of course there is no sukoon on the ra. It's between these three. Fatha, kasra, dhamma. It's between these three. It does not have a sukoon, obviously. It's between these three.
Does the first letter always have a fatha?
The first letter, which is the ya here, yadrib, always has a fatha. So no confusion there. Write in your notes that the first letter of fi'l al-mudari' always has a fatha over here if we're dealing with a normal verb. There are some abnormal verbs that will start with a dhamma. But let's not talk about them now because it gets confusing. Normal words, you start with a fatha.
So in the template version, it would be like yaf'alu.
Yeah, exactly. The template version would be yaf'alu. Yaf'alu. The first one has the fatha. The second one has the sukoon. The third one could be fatha, kasra, dhamma. And the last one is always fixed. It has a dhamma. So the forms of fi'l al-mudari' is yaf'alu or yaf'ilu or yaf'ulu. See, the first one is fixed. There's always a fatha. The next one always has a sukoon. The third one always has a dhamma. The only difference is in the third letter here. This one has a fatha, this one has a kasra like yadrubu, and this one has a dhamma. These are the types of the fi'l that we have. Any questions on that? Now let's go to page 32 in the book to examine the chart for fi'l al-mudari'. We examined the chart for fi'l al-madi. We examined the 14 forms that it comes with. Now let's examine the pronouns that attach to al-fi'l al-mudari'. There are also 14. It's highly important that we are familiar with these 14. If you know these 14, you know how to deal with fi'l al-mudari'. So let's examine them. You see that table on page 32? It simplifies it. It's very easy. The first row that we have is called al-ghaib. What's al-ghaib?
Person who's not there.
Person who's not there. So technically, third person. What are the types of third person present tense verbs that we have? Third person fi'l mudari'. We have how many? 6. 3 of them are masculine and 3 are feminine. What are the masculine ones? Yaf'alu. That's the template. Which is yashrabu, for example. Yashrabu. The template is yaf'alu. This is fi'l mudari', number 1. Number 2, it's what? Before we get to the dual, number 2, it's what? It's ghaib. It's in what tense? It's mudari', that's number 1. Number 2, it's in third person. Number 3, is it masculine or feminine? It's masculine. Number 4, is it singular, dual, or plural? Singular. So when you look at yaf'alu, know the following. It's ghaib, it's mufrad, it's singular, and it's what? Masculine. And of course it's fi'l. What type of fi'l is it? Mudara. It's a present tense verb. So whenever you look at a word like that, yashrabu, there are 4 things that identify this. Let's repeat it. What are 4 things about the verb yashrabu, to drink? Number 1, it's third person. He drinks, right? Third person. That's the first thing. The second, it's singular. He, one person, not 2 or 3. What's the third thing about this word that you can identify? It's masculine, right? It's not feminine. And the fourth thing, which is obvious, what type of verb? Present tense verb. These are the 4 things you can identify about this word. Is this clear?
Present tense, masculine, third person, and singular.
Singular. Exactly, these 4. That's all you need to know. It's singular, and it's masculine. It's third person, right? You're not talking to someone, or you're not speaking in the first person. And what type of verb is it? Present tense verb. So just know these 4 about this word. You know everything about fi'l al-mudara. Look at the word next to it. After yaf'alu, what do you have to its left? Yaf'alani. Yaf'alani is the same as yaf'alu. The only difference is that instead of being singular, what did we make it into? Dual. 2. So yashrabu, if I want to make it dual, what should I make it? Yashrabani. Yashrabani. So what are 4 things about yashraban? Number 1,
Present.
it's a present tense verb. Number 2,
It's masculine.
it's dual. Number 3, it's masculine, right? 2 men, 2 males. Number 4, third person. And then to its left, you just have the plural, which is what? Yashrabun, yaf'alun. Yashrabun.
They drank.
Yashrabun becomes plural, which means they. So yashrabun is a present tense verb. It's still third person. It's still masculine, but it's plural. Now notice something here. Yashrabani has what? The alif and the noon added to it. Yashrabun has the waw and the noon. You see this alif and the waw? What do we call these? What are they? I can't hear.
The vowels, right?
Yeah, they're vowels, but what are we attaching to the verb?
Oh, they're the Damir Muqtas.
Damir, pronouns. Right? This is a pronoun, the alif that's attaching. And this is the waw, a pronoun that's attaching to the verb. These are pronouns. Question. Look at yashrabu. He drinks. Where's the pronoun he?
It's implied.
Do you see a pronoun attached to this?
No.
So where's the pronoun? Where's the subject of it?
Is it all?
See, when it comes to yashraban, that dual pronoun is already stated here. Yashrabun, it's stated here. Yashrabu, where's the pronoun?
Yeah.
Huwa, because it's masculine. It's assumed, it's hidden. We call this damir mustatir, hidden pronoun, assumed pronoun. This is the first row. Now look at the second row where it says al-ghaiba, the third person, feminine. Same exact form that we discussed. The only difference, make it feminine. Now when you make it feminine, the only thing that changes is the following. So when we look at the first one here, which is yashrabu, if you want to make this feminine, instead of the ya, what do you change it to? Ta. Tashrabu. Tashrabu means it's feminine, third person, singular, present tense verb. And then if it's dual, tashraban, you still have that alif and noon. The only thing that we changed is the beginning, which is the ta. We changed the ya into ta. That's the sign of femininity.
And no kasra.
No, tashrabani. Tashrabani. Just like yashrabani. Same exact. The only thing we're changing is the ya or ta. Now when it comes to the plural in this row, it's a little bit tricky. See, for the masculine it was yashrabun. For the feminine it becomes what? Yashrabna. Yashrabna. See, automatically you thought it should be a ta, the sign of femininity. Tashrabna. No. It is yashrabna. So when it comes to the masculine feminine, you don't change the ya to a ta. You keep the ya. Now where's the sign of femininity and plurality? That noon. That noon indicates you're dealing with what? A feminine group. Question. If you get confused, question. Look at the Arabs, they're so concise with these things. Look at this word, yashrabna. This noon is a sign of what? Group feminine. Can you use this noon for men, groups of men? No. The noon is only used for female groups, right? If that's the case, why change the ya? You already have a sign of femininity there. And the Arabs, the way their system works is that if one letter gets the sign across, why need two? Why say tashrabna when yashrabna gets the word across? You see the point here?
Well, also, why would you put two signs of femininity?
That's the point I'm making. The Arabs say one sign of femininity is enough. And because the noon is only applied to female feminine groups, that automatically is also a sign of femininity. So when you have the sign of femininity, no need to put another one. That's like redundant, right? Tashrabna is redundant because yashrabna means only feminine.
So how this noon is different than yashrabun?
Yashrabun is males. And you're referring to the jam, the plural. It could also include males and females. It could also include in the Arabic language. But yashrabna is female only group.
So the wow is the make...
Yes, over here the wow.
That's making the difference.
That's making the difference. Over there we have the wow, here you don't have the wow, you just have the noon. Now, this letter here before the noon always will have a sukoon. Yashrabna, yaf'alna, ya'kulna, yadrusna. It will always have a sukoon. In your feminine plural form, that letter before the noon will always have a sukoon. It comes on the default of, template of yaf'alna. And that's why you see yaf'alna in your chart. So now we've covered 6 forms out of the 14. 3 of them are the masculine. 3 of them are the feminine. Now notice one thing. Where's the pronoun in yashrabna? Just the noon. Where's the pronoun in tashraban? That alif here. Where's the pronoun for tashrabu? She drinks. It's hidden. It's assumed here.
Isn't it ta?
No. That ta is a sign of what? Femininity. It's not a pronoun. Remember this. With fi'l al-mudara', when it starts with a ta, that is not a pronoun. That's never a pronoun in fi'l al-mudara' when it starts with the ta. That ta is just a sign of femininity. So if you need to have a pronoun here, tashrabu, It's assumed. It's مستتر. تشرب هي. Is that clear? Confusing? Okay. Let's look at the third one. The third row is what? Al-Mukhatab. What's Al-Mukhatab in Arabic, in English? Second person. You're talking to someone, right? You're addressing someone. Now, when it comes to the Mukhatab, you have 6 forms. 3 of them are masculine and 3 of them are feminine. Let's look at the masculine ones. If you are talking to a male and he's only one person, how do you address him? You want to tell him, you drink. What do you say? تفعل تشرب تشرب تشرب. To make a fi'l mudari', present tense verb, into a second person, masculine singular, just switch the ya to a ta. But notice, this ta here is not the sign of femininity here. This ta here is the sign of second person. So if you want to assume the pronoun, the dhamir here, what's the assumed pronoun here? No, who is third person?
You.
What's you in Arabic?
You.
Anta. So the assumed pronoun here is anta. Tashrabu anta. Tashrabu anta. It's assumed. So tashrabu has a hidden pronoun. Now, if you remember with the fi'l al-madi, how many hidden pronouns did we only have? 2. Huwa hiya. All the other 12 had a pronoun. When it comes to fi'l al-mudari', we now have how many so far? How many hidden pronouns? This is the third one. We had the huwa hiya. The third one is anta. So now in fi'l al-mudari' we have more hidden pronouns. Because if you look at the word, there is no pronoun here. And don't let the ta confuse you. That ta is not a pronoun. It's just a sign of what? Second person. Sign of mukhatab.
So is it for both? Anta, anti?
We'll talk about anti. Anti has an addition to it. This is only for male, singular. Okay, make this dual. Second person dual. It becomes tashrabani. Tashrabani. You two drink. You're drinking. It's fi'al mudari'. And then if you want to make it plural, what happens? Tashrabuna. See, that ta stays fixed because it's a sign of second person. This is singular. This is dual. This is plural. And this is your pronoun for the dual and the plural. The first one, the pronoun is what? Assumed or hidden. So now, this one, tashrabuna. Tell me 4 things about this one. Number 1, it's what? It's masculine. Number 2, plural. Number 3, present tense verb. Number 4, second person, mukhatab. You see these 4? Yes.
I don't see the second person.
Second person, tashrabuna. As opposed to yashrabuna, which was third person. So this ta is an indication of what? Of second person. Yes, sister.
For the dual, can the noon have a sukoon on it?
For the dual, the noon over here has a kasra. Why? It originally did have a sukoon. But remember, whenever in Arabic you have to continue a sukoon, you make it a kasra. So if you were to stop and say ya'kulan and then stop, yes, it would be a sukoon. But if you wanted to continue the statement, for example, الرجلان يأكلان الطعام, you want to continue it, it would be a kasra. So originally, yes, it's a sukoon, definitely. It's a sukoon, but we put a kasra for the sake of flowing the sentence.
When I made a sentence in my mind, I just put a sukoon.
Yes, put a sukoon, that's fine. Originally it's a sukoon. But when we continue it, I'll give you an example. Surah Al-Rahman. If you say فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا, you jinn and ins, so it's dual. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. If you stop, what do you say? تُكَذِّبَانِ. But if you want to continue, what do you say? It would be تُكَذِّبَانِ. It would be a kasra. So yes, originally it's a sukoon. But when you continue the statement, it becomes a kasra. So that's why I put the kasra, just to make it easier for the sake of flowing the, preserving the flow in the statement. Otherwise, it is a sukoon. As-sakin, إذا حرك بالكسرة. If you have something that is sakin and you want to vowel it, you put a kasra to it. Now this is the masculine. Let's make the feminine form of this mukhatab, of this second person. So if you're talking to a female in the second person and you want to tell her you are drinking, what do you say? No. Tashrabina. See, keep tashrab. Because tashrab means second person and the ta here is what? For what? Mukhatab, right? That's your second person sign. Now you need a feminine sign. How do I distinguish between the masculine and the feminine? So in the Arabic language, all you have to do is add a ya and a noon. Tashrabina. Tashrabina. That ya and the noon is a sign of femininity. So what are 4 things we know about this?
Feminine.
What's that? Second person. What's the sign that this is second person?
Ta.
The ta. That's your sign. Okay. What else do we know about this? The second thing.
Feminine.
Feminine. What's the sign that it's feminine? The ya and the noon here. The ya is your sign that it's feminine. Okay, number 3, what do we know about this? No, this is not dual. This is singular. You're talking to a female and you're telling her you drink. So at second person, we said the ta is the sign. And it is feminine, and we said the sign is the ya. What else? It's a present tense verb. And the last thing, it's singular. You're talking to one person. It's not dual or plural. Okay. Make this dual. What should it be? Yes? No? Same word, just like this one. Tashruban. It's identical with the masculine. That's why look in your chart. Taf'alan. Taf'alan. Same thing. So when it comes to the dual, we cannot distinguish the masculine from the feminine. Same. You 2 women tashraban. You 2 men tashraban. It's the same. But then look at the plural. What happens with the plural? You want to address a group of women in the second person mukhatab and talk to them. What does it become? What's that? Exactly. Tashrabna. Tashrabna. See, the original form in the third person was yashrabna. So now make it mukhatab. And we said, when you want to make something mukhatab from third person, you switch the ya and what? Put a ta. So all you do is put tashrabna. So what are 4 things about tashrabna? It's plural, but be more specific. Plural for who? Females. So it's female plural. It's second person. And it's a present tense verb. These are the 4 things. So plural, female, second person, present tense. These are the 4 things you know about this word. Tashrabna. So now we've covered how many so far? Altogether so far, how many forms of the fi'l al-mudara' have we discussed?
12, right?
We're at 12, right? First person had 6, masculine, feminine. Second person had 6, masculine, feminine. So we're at 12. So we need how many more? 2, right? Because we have 14. So the 2 that we have are the following. Let's erase this. So we talked about the third person and the second person. What else is left? First person. And when it comes to the first person, what are the 2 forms that we have?
I and we.
I and we, right? So I in Arabic, if you want to make it a present tense verb, make it first person. Switch the ya to what? Alif. So it's af'alu. Ashrabu. Right? Af'alu. Ashrabu. That means I drink. Question. That alif is a sign of what?
I.
First person.
First person. Where is the dhamir? Where is the pronoun? It's hidden. And what is it? What we assume it to be? Ana. Af'alu ashrabu. Ana. That's the hidden pronoun that we are assuming. That's the dhamir mustatir here. So this is the 13th form. 14th and last form is what? We.
No.
In order to change fi'l al-mudari' to we, to make it plural first person, because this is singular first person, make it plural first person, instead of the alif put what? Noon. Naf alu. And the example is nash rabu. Question, that noon in the beginning is a sign of what?
We.
It's a sign of first person plural, right? It's first person and also the plural form. So where is your pronoun? Hidden. What do we assume it to be? Nahnu. Nahnu. That's your hidden pronoun. So when it comes to fi'l al-mudari', how many hidden pronouns do we have so far? 5. What are they? Recap. Huwa, hiya, anta,
ana, nahnu.
anta. Let's add anti. So it becomes 6 then. Anta, you. Anti, does anti have one? No, anti does not have one. Why? Remember, what was the form that goes with anti? Tash, rabina. That's your pronoun. No need to assume a pronoun. You already have it there. So we only have for anta, not anti. Because anti has a visible pronoun, which is the ya, tashrabina, right? Taf'alina, tashrabina. So when it comes to fi'l al-mudari', we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you said, just 5. So huwa, hiya, anta, anti, no, we said it doesn't have because of the ya. Ana, nahnu. These are the 5 pronouns that are hidden and assumed. All the other 9, they do have a visible pronoun. Either the waw or the ya or the noon or the alif, they do have a visible pronoun. So if you know these 14 forms, then you will know all the forms that fi'l al-mudari' comes in. Any question on these forms?
So say the only one that ever changes from ya to ta is the female Baqer plural. Correct?
The only one that changes from ya
To a ta.
to a ta,
Yeah. When,
the ya at the beginning of the letter?
yeah.
No, we have 2 changes. One of them is for the ta of femininity,
Right.
taf'al hiya, in the third person. The other one is the ta for the mukhatab.
No, I'm talking about like when we went from singular,
That's
dual,
third person.
plural. The only one that changes in its sequence from ya to ta is that one, right?
Which one?
For female,
Singular and
ghaib.
plural.
Yeah.
Singular and plural.
See, in your ghaib, in your third person, all of them are ya except two, which is the singular female and the dual female. The plural female stays ya. And you have the three ya for the males. So in your third person, you have four yas and just two tas. Is that what you're asking about? Yeah. So any questions about this chart? I know it's a lot to take in and try to remember, but is it clear or is it confusing? It's clear, but it just requires practice and memorization and knowing it. But the concept is clear. And remember, fi'l al-madi has how many hidden pronouns? Two. Madi, the past. What are they? Huwa hiya. Everything else has a what? Visible. Everything has a visible pronoun. Fi'l al-mudara has how many hidden pronouns? 5. And the 9 have a visible pronoun. So now there's a difference between madi and mudara. Fi'l al-madi has 2 dhamir mustatirs, huwa hiya. Fi'l al-mudara has 5 dhamir mustatir, which is huwa, hiya, anta, ana, nahnu.
أنا ونحن في الماضي.
ضربنا. The dhamir is mentioned. So, nadribu, scholars of the Arabic language say that noon of nadribu is a sign of mukhatab. They do not consider it to be dhamir. Why? Because dhamir cannot attach before the word. Dhamir always has to be where? After the word. We don't have a dhamir in the beginning of the word. So this noon is not the dhamir. It's just a sign of mukhatab and plural. So we have to assume a dhamir. And that helps you, by the way. That's a very good point. If you want to know whether this is a dhamir pronoun or not, rule in the Arabic language. Can you have a pronoun before the verb? You can't. The pronoun has to come after the verb. So anything you see before the verb, ana, af'alu, naf'alu, automatically you know that's not a pronoun. The pronoun has to come after the verb. Like see, tashrabina, this is a pronoun because it's after the verb. Or tashrabuna, that waw comes after the verb. That's the difference between them. So fi'l al-mudara has 5 hidden pronouns, fi'l al-madi has 2 hidden pronouns. Now one last thing about fi'l al-mudara before we conclude. Look on page 34. It gives you the patterns over here to know the middle letter. We will conclude with this very briefly. Remember we mentioned al-fi'l al-mudari', the first letter and the second letter and the last letter are fixed. See? Yaf'alu. This one is what? Has a fatha in the regular verbs. This one has always a what? Sukoon. And the last one always? Dhamma. This is the tricky one, right? Is there a way to figure out this tricky one? There is. Look at fi'l al-mudari'. I'm sorry, look at fi'l al-madi. So, yaf'alu, what's the madi of yaf'alu? Fa'ala, right? See, fa'ala always, the first and the last is a fatha. The middle one changes. If your madi, your past tense verb, has a dhamma on the middle one, fa'ula, your mudari' must always have what on the ayn, on the third letter? Also a dhamma. Yaf'ulu. If your past tense is fa'ula, your present must be yaf'ulu. What is an example? Sharufa or karuma, yakrumu. See? Karuma or sharufa, karuma. It has a dhamma over here. So if you want to make it present tense mudari', What do you put on the ra over here? Dhamma, yakrubu. Ba'uda, he became far. Yab'udu. Qaruba, yaqrubu. These are all variations.
Is this
Fixed. If your madi has a dhamma in the middle one, your mudari' must have a dhamma on this one. It must be. That's the good part. That's the easy part. But if your madi is fa'ala, or fa'ila, it can come in a different variations. So if it's fa'ala, it can be yaf'alu or yaf'ulu. Example, look at page 34, look at the first line. For example, nasara is fa'ala, but the mudari' is what? Yansuru. See, it became yaf'ulu. However, daraba is also fa'ala. Daraba, nasara, same thing. But the mudari' of daraba is what? Yadribu with a kasra. Then you also have mana'a, which means to prevent, to stop. Mana'a is fa'ala, same thing. But the mudari' is what? Yaf'alu. So when it comes to yaf'alu, there's a fatha on the ayn. It can come in three forms. That's why in the beginning I said there is no law for this. You just have to know this through experience. Yes, one thing that you can identify right off the bat, if your fi'l madi is fa'ula, it has a dhamma, then you already know what the mudara' is. That's the easy one. But the others, if it's fa'ala, it's tricky.
only applies to fi'l madi.
فعل has two. فعل has two.
Yes, that's the last thing. This is for fa'ala. So fa'ala can come in three forms in the mudara'. It could be yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, yaf'ulu. But if your madi is fa'ila, like what? Shariba, right? If your madi is fa'ila, it only comes in two mudari' forms, which is fa'ala, yaf'alu. It does not come in yaf'ulu. We don't have in the Arabic language a fi'l madi that is fa'ila, there's a kasra in the middle, but your mudari' is yaf'ulu. We don't have that. Yes.
How can you tell if your fi'l madi is fatha or dhamma?
That also doesn't have a law. You just have to know it. You just come through practice and you know the fi'l al-madi. So sometimes knowing the fi'l al-madi does help. So if you know that the fi'l al-madi had a dhamma in the middle, then you know this should also have a dhamma. But if it has a fatha in the middle, it can come in all three forms. If it has a kasra in the middle, it can come in only two forms. Which form does it not come in if it has a kasra? Yaf'ulu. It does not come in that form. So, I think it would be difficult to memorize those two. All you need to know is then this one. That if the madi is fa'ula, the mudara' has to be yaf'ulu. Just memorize that. The other one is going to be confusing because it comes in different forms. So really just memorize that. Fa'ula is always yaf'ulu. So with that we conclude al-fi'l al-mudari'. Next we will examine fi'l al-amr. What are the forms that come for the imperative, the commanding verb? وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد.